Hello everyone. Let us welcome Devansh, who has scored 63 marks in law in the CA Foundation attempt in September 2024. So let us understand from him his strategy for law, how he prepared, and the last minute revision tips. Welcome Devansh and many congratulations on your result.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Excellent marks. You got 63 in law despite the paper being so lengthy. These are excellent marks. So
Yeah,
we would like to know what was your strategy for law. We'll start with law because I think law is the biggest pain point for CA foundation students. उनको उसी में बहुत ज्यादा डर लगता है. Other subjects they can still manage because it is common with 12th standard. But law में they are always scared till the exam, till the result I should say. So what was your strategy for law?
ma'am. So in the beginning, I was not sure about how the exam will go, and we were the first batch who got the 40 marks of business part, which was there earlier, was removed. So we were more scared about how the paper will come, and I was also not prepared about how it will come. So the first thing which helped me was the audio lectures which were there on in your app by the Audionama named.
Yes.
So that helped me a lot because in last minute revision, that was the only thing which I used to, by revising it, that was the only thing which I had in hand. So that and the notes which you provided were in very simplified language. So that also helped me a lot while revising. So I kept my book alongside the audio nama and then I heard the whole thing. So that was in the sequence and that helped me score such good marks. So
Okay.
yeah, that's
So to
my
the
strategy.
students who are not aware, in the regular lectures that we provide for CA Foundation, we have two books. One is the main law book, that is the concept book, and other is the compiler, which is a compilation of all the past exam questions, study material, RTP, MTP questions. So we provide two books for the regular batch students. One is the concept book, other is the compiler, and we also provide law podcast, which he was talking, that is law ka audio nama, which are podcast revision lectures having unlimited views. You can listen to them unlimited number of times. So the strategy is keep the textbook with you, listen to the audio podcast, keep on revising. And after you finish the chapter, solve the compiler. So did you go through the compiler questions?
Yeah.
All the compiler questions you solved and you went through.
Yeah, I mean, all the case study I went through, but the theory were went over by matlab touch and go types.
Because it was already covered in the concept book.
Yeah, yeah.
So did you refer the ICAI study material for law?
No, I did not touch the. I have not yet bought the law ka module
Okay,
because
you have.
I did not need it because the language used over there was very high and
Yeah,
it was wholly in the law language part. So I was not aware about what the words are.
exactly. Because it
So
is
module,
difficult to learn.
I have not yet touched the module. So I did not study anything from the module.
Okay. So do you think that it is necessary to study from the study material? I'm asking this question because many students come and tell me that मैम मॉड्यूल तो पढ़ना ही चाहिए मॉड्यूल में से ही सब कुछ आता है. Did you feel that module was required for law?
No, I did not feel module was required because I myself have not touched the module as such. I studied only from your audio lectures and the compiler along with your notes. So the notes were so much simplified and the whole concepts were taken into the book so perfectly that I did not refer to the module because all the questions which came were either from the compiler and one or two tricky questions which came were from the theory lectures which were provided in the audio now.
Okay. So concept book, compiler, and audio nama. You used only these
Yeah,
three things and
yeah,
not the study material, and you feel it is not required also.
yeah.
Okay. Uh, if I ask you for law, what helped you the most? Like इसके बिना तो मेरा होता ही नहीं 63 आना ही नहीं था.
Loka podcast because podcast matlab I myself had started my college. So I was going to college through metro and I had to study CA as well because I had to give my foundation exam. So while traveling in the metro also I used to plug in my earphones and hear to the audio nama repeatedly. So two, three
Okay.
times 20 minutes ka lecture which was there. I used to put it on 1.5x speed because I already knew what was there. I just
Right,
had to revise it twice or thrice. So
right.
20 minutes podcast used to get over in 10 minutes if it's on 1.5 or 1.6. And then I heard it twice or thrice while traveling. So one unit is covered in the metro itself. And then coming back home, I used to revise it again, matlab other units.
Okay, so that is actually how I also tell students to use it कि walk पे निकल गए ऑडियो नामा सुन लिया या फिर you're traveling and you're utilizing your time in revising because law is a subject जिसमें revise करते ही रहना. There is no other solution to memorize law. And how did you revise? Like audio nama was one thing, but that was during your study period. Like what about 1 month before the exam? Like what was your revision pattern?
Yeah, 1 month before the exam, I started with the matlab first I referred to the notes. I complete one whole unit and then I do the compiler of that unit because that unit is fresh in your mind. You know what's there in the unit, and that will help you to get the concept of the compiler also because all the compiler questions are referring to the same unit. So completing one unit, doing the compiler, and if you are not confident, do it again or listen to the audio nama once and it will be done.
Right. So do
So
you
that
think
was the study pattern for all the units.
all the units? Okay. Do you think it is better to study concept and immediately solve questions, or we should complete the entire chapter, like entire act, and then go through the questions?
Complete the unit and then do the questions because it
Right.
the concept is fresh in your mind. It will help you to do it better because after completing the whole act, there are multiple things running in your mind about the same act because
Right.
there are many case studies, many sections which are there in the same act. If
Correct.
we talk about the Indian Contract Act, it has around 300 to 400 sections. So
Correct.
completing that one act and then doing the questions won't help us getting the sections right.
Right. So
So
were you
we
able to
may end up
remember
goofing up
all
in
the
the
section?
section.
Were you able to remember all the section numbers? Did you write the section numbers in exam?
In the exam, I wrote the section numbers which I remembered, but I suggest that if you don't know the section number, don't write wrong section numbers because writing wrong section numbers will deduct mark.
Right.
So one of my friend, he came out and he was confident that मैंने सब लिखा है section वेक्शन लिखा है and he ended up scoring less marks or just passed. I mean, he was like कि I've written everything and then he went home and he checked the compiler. He said that मैंने sections wrong लिखे. So
Ah,
I did not write some of the sections which I did not know. I was not confident about it. So I left those sections. I wrote the provisions and left it because writing the wrong section will deduct marks, but not writing the section will not highlight it in front of the corrector that you have not written it.
correct, correct, correct. That's a good tip. What was your 1.5 day before the exam study plan for law? We'll talk about other subjects also, but especially for law. 1.5 day before the exam, आपने कैसे पढ़ा?
1.5 day before the exam, audio नामा 2x स्पीड पे सब सुन लिया
अच्छा
वापस.
पूरा कवर किया था ऑडियो नाम.
हाँ. 1.5, we had 2 days का holiday before law का exam.
हम्म.
15 and 18.
Okay.
So we had three. No, sorry, it was for match. We had 1 day. Yeah, one
One.
and a half day before that, I did the whole audio nama again because it helped me a lot. Because keeping the theory book alongside and the audio nama, so it on the 2x speed, the one unit completed in around 5 minutes, 6 minutes, and
Oh, okay.
already knowing concept, 5 minutes for one unit is very less. So I
Right.
completed the whole syllabus in around 4 to 5 hours.
4 to 5 hours, you completed the entire syllabus.
Yeah, because
Unbelievable.
the companies act mein I just did the important parts which you told me to do. So companies act I did not listen to the audio nama because it was about 2 hours. So
Ah,
that leaving that thing, I completed it in 4 to 5 hours, the whole thing in
that's great.
2x speed.
That's great. Students, Audio Nama is a revision podcast which has all the concepts revised easily. You keep the concept book, you listen to the Audio Nama, and it has section numbers, a list of section numbers, the head points, everything is covered there. So revising in 4 to 5 hours, that is commendable. मैंने भी कभी imagine नहीं किया था that the podcast will actually help students to complete the entire revision in 4 to 5 hours. The first time where
I
we.
mean, one thing about the podcast which was very good was the things which sections you gave. and you explained it in a story format, the
Right,
first act. So
right.
that was the one part which I had means by heart करने की भी जरूरत नहीं पड़ी. It was like in a story format, and I still remember somewhat about it. So there were two or three questions which came from the same part in that same section frame. So I wrote all the sections and provisions. So 7 to 8 marks came out of there, which I did not have to study at all because the sections were in a story format.
Okay, great. That's amazing. Uh, See, the paper was very lengthy in September. Very lengthy. Everyone was complaining. How did you manage to finish the paper in 3 hours? Because when I spoke to you, you said that, ma'am, मैंने पूरा paper attempt किया था. You had attempted everything. So how did you manage your time? Because time management is something which every student struggles with. So how did you manage your time in 3 hours?
Ma'am, first of all, to manage the time in 3 hours and write the whole paper, it was very terrifying. I mean, I'm still remembering myself, my hands were shivering after the exam for around 20 minutes
Okay.
because the pressure which came on the hand while writing the exam was not good. It was not a good experience. But talking about that, first, the students need to have some writing practice about what
Writing practice, I
about the
agree.
compiler. You see the question, write some of the answers. I'm not telling them to write the whole compiler because it's not possible.
Right.
2 or 3 questions which are important, theory 7 markers, write them and keep a time frame about 5 minutes to complete one question.
Okay.
So while writing the paper, I completed my 3 questions in 2 hours.
Okay.
For remaining 2 questions, I had only 1 hour, and I was
Ah,
not sure about what I'll do. I'll complete it or not because the 3 questions I wrote were very lengthy, and I
okay.
had written everything, like all the 4 pointers which were there, provisions, conclusion, and all that. So after that, in 2 questions, I had only half an hour, and then in the last 2 questions, I was like, "Ki khatam to hoga nahi." So there's one thing. There were A, B, C sub questions. मतलब one question was given case based, and there were three different opinions about what will happen if this happens. So then I did not write all the 4 points. I just wrote A, and then I wrote about the provision. I mean the conclusion, what will happen if this happens. So I
Okay.
managed to complete the last 2 questions in that way.
So you reduced the content and you wrote only what was required to save
Yeah,
time.
I wrote only what was required and which was spot on. So the content was cut short and it was written in a crisp way, but I made sure everything was covered in it.
Great, great. That's a good strategy. Let's talk about other subjects. How did you study other subjects? Let's start with accounts. How did you study accounts?
In accounts, I referred 100% to the module. There was nothing
Right.
except the module.
Okay, so I think for accounts, module is the best study material, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And for maths,
Maths में there was one book given by Sir Goyal Publications का one book is there. Taxman का है मतलब there are all the subject मतलब all the chapters in it, and there are illustrations which explain each and every concept present in that subject. So if
okay,
one subject has around 10 concepts, so all the 10 concepts will be explained with one or two examples of each concept.
okay,
So I did Taxman, I did not refer to the module in maths as well.
okay, okay. But you solved many questions.
Yeah, in
Solving,
Taxman, after completing all the concepts, there is like 200 MCQs about one chapter involving all the concepts to be covered.
okay, great. And what,
So
okay.
solving that was helpful.
What about economics?
Economics, also some chapters I referred to the module because sir had not given notes about it. But some of the chapters like demand supply, which are already covered in 12th, sir had given first 5 chapters ka notes. Matlab first 5 chapters were covered in the notes. So that I did only the notes. And then after that, the last 5 chapters, which were a bit difficult, sir had given only notes for the 8th chapter and the 10th chapter. Other 3 chapters I did it wholly from the module.
Module, okay, okay. Uh, According to you, how much time is sufficient for preparing to prepare for CA foundation? Because अभी time बहुत कम है students के पास. Every 3-4 months they have an exam. So according to you, how much time is sufficient if like suppose a student is starting his preparation in November and preparing for Jan attempt? Are 2 months
Yeah.
sufficient according to you?
Ma'am, planning 2 months in four equal parts. So 60 days divided by 4, 15 days per subject. You need to complete one subject in 15 days by doing it thoroughly. Like I did law, I'm not lying, but I did law in around 7 days. I completed the whole law by
Okay.
using the AudioNama compiler and the theory book.
Huh.
Because theory book and the AudioNama together were completed in around 3 to 4 days
Okay.
altogether at regular speed, and then the compiler, I took compiler and did it in 3 to 4 days.
Okay. So
So
that
I
was
completed my law in 8 days.
in 8 days. So it is possible. And also you had attended all the lectures also. So वो भी mind
Yeah.
में था. You had covered all the concepts. So you just had to read and learn.
No, but I had taken a 3 months break now.
हाँ.
June to around October start, I started studying rigorously. So I had made a schedule. I have it on my phone. I have not yet deleted it, but I had planned it and I completed everything till 19th of September, 19th of October या कुछ ऐसा मतलब I completed my whole portion before 10-15
So,
days.
okay. Exam was in, I think August. You must have completed in August.
नहीं नहीं exam was in September.
So you
I
completed in
completed my portion in
August.
August, yeah, 19th August
So
something.
you completed your portion 15 days in advance, and then what did you do for the last 10 days?
Revision.
Revision.
10 days में first exam which we had was accounts. So the days which were there in the last, before the accounts exam, I did accounts. And the last exam was economics. So in the 10 days, first 2 days I did economics. Then I did maths, then law, and then the last 3 days I did accounts. So
Very
ulta matlab, which exam is in the first, I did it in the last because it remains fresh.
correct, correct. Excellent. So you started with economics and then
Yeah,
math,
economics, law,
law.
maths, and account. Yeah.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. So if the students want to still plan for the Jan attempt, it is still possible for them to complete all the subjects by giving equal time to each subject, and planning is most important.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also
Ma'am,
please,
just a second. Just a second. I still have that plan. I have my plan on my mobile phone. I had done it according to the schedule, and if you do it according to the schedule without, matlab, you know, if you have not done it according to the schedule, only you know that you have not done it.
right.
Others don't know. So if you do that, you will not end up completing the portion. But this is the portion I had made for myself. So I
Oh, okay.
completed this in 20 days.
Okay.
So I completed almost 3 to 4 chapters every day. And in law, according to me, I completed 2 units or 3 units every day with the compiler and audio nama.
Okay, great. So later on, please share this with me. I will try to share it with students so that they get an idea if they want to prepare in less time, how rigorously the 12 घंटे बैठ के पढ़ाई करो लेकिन 2 महीने में सब पॉसिबल है.
हाँ, 2 महीने में, 1 महीने में भी पॉसिबल है अगर तुम लोग 8 घंटा बैठ जाओ तो.
8 घंटा इज सफिशिएंट.
Because मैंने वो ही किया था. I did not study in the 3 months after I missed my June attempt.
हाँ.
I was like, I gave up कि अभी नहीं करना है. But September आ गया luckily for us. So फिर
राइट.
डिसाइड किया कि अगस्त में पढ़ते हैं. अगस्त में ऑलमोस्ट रोज मैंने 4 घंटा 5 घंटा पढ़ा है अगस्त में. एंड
ओके.
सितंबर में भी वही कंटिन्यू किया एंड आई कंप्लीटेड. मतलब लॉ में इतना अच्छा आना वाज अ वेरी बिग सरप्राइज फॉर मी. मुझे
राइट.
वैसा था लॉ में पास हो जाए तो भी बहुत है. मतलब
बट इतना
द
एफर्ट
अकॉर्डिंग
डाला
टू द
है तो.
पेपर आई वाज, नहीं, according to the paper I was myself shocked कि how did I manage to get 63 because I was like 40 आ गया तो बस सीए में 40 लॉ आ गया पास है.
हाँ. राइट.
But I my aggregate rose up because of law. If I had scored 14 law, I would have failed my CA exam.
राइट. सो लॉ हेल्प
So
यू टू
my
गेट.
whole aggregate went up because of law.
I also tell my students that it is very surprising, but if you put effort in law, it will help you to create aggregate not only in foundation but inter also. So conceptual clarity is very important. Studying from the right notes is important. So it is possible. Law आपका aggregate बनाएगा, and that's
हाँ,
very
possible.
amazing. Any last minute tips for June 25 and Jan 25 especially? Last minute tips. Anything that you feel ये तो करना ही.
Ma'am, अभी even I don't know what to tell because I myself was confused. हमको भी लगा 18 questions, 3 hours managed, sorted. We saw the paper, it was 28 questions, and we were all
Right.
like, for 5 minutes, we were bamboozled that what will happen. We don't know what will happen because 28 questions, writing it in 3 hours.
It's
So I completed my paper.
impossible.
मतलब it was a thing in my class कि पूरे class ने 3 supplement मांगा था,
Ah,
and I myself wrote 3 supplements.
okay.
So I wrote 28 या 30 pages which they gave and 12 pages. So 42 pages का पेपर मैंने 3 घंटे में लिखा.
अभी अभी सुन के
इतना मुझे
लगता है कि
पता है.
कैसे कर लिया.
उतना पता है. मतलब आई डोंट नो. मतलब लास्ट मोमेंट आई जस्ट सॉ द वीडियोस ऑन इंस्टाग्राम एंड यूट्यूब व्हिच वर कमिंग लाइक कि these are the important questions, the weightage of each and every chapter. मतलब if you want to leave some chapter, like if you want to leave any chapter or questions, look at the previous year paper. So those questions will not be repeated. So you
हम्म.
can leave those questions, and the questions which are important will be covered in some of the YouTube last minute YouTube revisions or
Right.
Instagram reels which come, like these are the important questions. And I watched 10 to 15 questions, and out of those 15 questions, 5 questions were coming in the exam which I saw. So five
So you were
questions
lucky
helped
there.
me over there.
Yes, yes.
And one of the questions was from the first chapter, Indian Regulatory Framework.
Okay.
उसमें से we saw the last year paper, we saw 2 questions came. So we were sure कि ये दो नहीं आने
नहीं
वाले हैं,
आएगा.
and there were other 2 questions left. We literally by hearted the 2 questions which were left. We by hearted the whole thing and we went in exam. 7 marks का एक question आया same to same. और वो I think I got 7 out of 7. वो same मैंने word to word लिखा है.
Great, great. So it worked for you. लेकिन
फर्स्ट चैप्टर वैसे ही कर रहे हैं.
I would like to add over here. सिर्फ important questions करके मतलब क्योंकि मुझे स्टूडेंट्स पूछते मैम इतना ही किया तो चलेगा क्या? Is it okay if we study only these 20 questions? Look at the effort that Devansh had already put before that. He had gone through the entire syllabus. If those important questions were not asked, still I think you would be able to appear for the exam and attempt the questions, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
just don't solve the important questions. Yes, it will definitely help you in the last minute. But उसके पहले भी जो मेहनत होती है वो करनी है. It is important for you to at least
हाँ,
follow
which
the
I
entire syllabus.
yeah, which I told last minute, that is last minute. So
It's
don't do it
last
from the
minute.
starting because it won't help then. Because
Exactly.
कुछ अलग आ गया, हम लोग को 18 का 28 आ गया. So if some changes are made, like the importance are not asked and the less importance are asked, so it the tables may turn the whole way around.
Perfect, perfect.
Because one
So,
of my friends only did the important question, and a
uh,
live example, he got only 12 marks
okay. Only important
in
questions
law.
and 12 marks in
हाँ,
law.
he did only the important questions, and मतलब 28 questions में not possible कि सब important questions आएंगे.
Not
So
possible.
he flunked in the law paper big time. मतलब 12 and he failed. मतलब aggregate भी नहीं हुआ.
Mm-hmm. So
So
completing the entire
हाँ,
syllabus and then last minute we go through the important questions. That is actually
yeah.
a perfect strategy. It's actually a perfect. So thank you so much, Devansh, for your insights. It will, I'm very sure it will help the students who are preparing for Jan 25 and May 25. And many, many congratulations again. And I wish you all the best for your future endeavors.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
It was lovely talking to you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, welcome.
Students, in case you wish to enroll for the CA Foundation or CA Inter Law batches, lectures are available on my website, capreetyagarwal.com. You can also connect with me on my WhatsApp number. It is given in the description box. In case you have any queries, do feel free to connect with us. All the best, Devansh. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.